welcome everyone that's joining us today. We're so happy to be here. We're going to be having an open discussion about how salons are starting to evolve and lean more into tech-driven solutions to create efficiencies and increase awareness and revenue while making the planet a better place to live. So my name is Denise Boudreau. I'm going to be your moderator for today's discussion. I am the Director of Sales at SalonBiz, also known as the wearer of different hats, the generalist, and in the know about everything SalonBiz. Today, I have joining us is Tim Howard, who is the CIO of Vish. We have Larry Kane from Circle Salons and also owner of Jonathan Kane Salon, located in the south suburbs of Chicago. And finally, Tracey Franklin, who is the owner of Loxx Salon and Aspire Beauty and Barber Academy in Cookeville, Tennessee. So we're going to be sending a recording of the webinar out afterwards. So if for some reason you get interrupted, don't panic. You'll be able to hop back on at another time if needed. And if there's any questions, please go ahead and put them in the chat. And if we're able to get them to them live, we will. If not, we will definitely follow up post-webinar. Now, I'm sure that there are several people in the audience who are meeting one of us for the first time. So I'd love to take a moment to just do a deeper dive of introductions. So Tim, let's start with you. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm Tim Howard. I am formerly, well, I guess I'm still a hairdresser. I've been in the industry since I was 19 years old, so over 30 years. And my background has been, like I said, salon owner, hairdresser, and also worked for a product company, Estee Lauder Aveda, for many years in the field doing education shows, which is where the idea for Vish came along. Just seeing the challenges that I had at my salon, managing the color inventory, and then in the field, seeing all other salons struggling with the same problem. Looking at technology at the time, it was still pretty rudimentary at the color bar. We were writing things down. We were using a kitchen scale. And I knew it was a matter of time before technology was put in place there to help salons better manage their inventory and be more profitable. And I just want to make sure that I was part of that. So sold my salon and then dove into Vish. And then, here we are today with some great partnerships. We're in many countries and helping salons really take control and be more profitable and more environmentally sustainable.
Awesome. Larry, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, happy Earth Month, everybody. My name is Larry Kane. I've owned the Jonathan Kane Salon for 15 years, and we've been a Circle Salon for over 3. But my journey with sustainability started a long time ago. Our first salon had a huge basement, and every Saturday I would go down and split all the waste into recycling and into garbage, and we were able to divert a lot of our what normally we'd throw into the trash, we would just divert to recycle. And that started probably 12 years ago. And then when Circle turned around and popped into our scope, we said, well, let's give it a shot. So we launched it on the first day of Earth Month 3 years ago. And we've absolutely loved being a part of it. So much so that I was on a webinar with the CEO in 2022, and they looked into my background and they hired me as a director of sales for North America. So it's been a nice journey to be able to turn people on to the concept of Circle and to be able to be a part of the company as well. I'm also the vice president of the ABS show, so we hopefully we'll see some people there this weekend. And we're currently testing reusable containers to ship our waste back to our waste retrieval spaces and then have that come back instead of using cardboard boxes. So it's a pretty exciting time to be part of Circle. Thank you.
Awesome. Tracey, last but not least.
Well, thank you. I just want to say thank you for an invitation to sit at this table. The conversation is so important, and I'm just excited to be a part of it. So thank you. Again, my name is Tracey Franklin. I'm the owner of Loxx Salon and Spa in Cookeville, Tennessee, as well as Aspire Barber and Beauty Academy. And my sustainable journey started back in 2016 when I hired an absolute gem of a salon coordinator named Laura Anderson. Laura, if you're listening, I love you forever and always. She came to me with a biology degree with a minor in environmental conservation, and just her infectious desire to do better just got all over everybody, honestly. And then of course, partnering with Aveda in 2017 just fueled that fire, and it just keeps growing and growing and growing. So I'm just proud to be part of the conversation today.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, we appreciate you being part of it.
Thank
Now,
you.
for those of you who are just meeting me for the first time, I've been in the industry for about 20 years. I started working in the salons and then began my journey at SalonBiz about 13 years ago. If you're hearing about SalonBiz for the first time, we provide innovative technology for salons who need to simplify, who need to automate, and who want to grow their business. And our tools connect really everyone in the business for an elevated experience. So it connects owners, it connects managers, it connects service staff, front desk team members. It even connects the guests to the business through the technology. And we also connect and integrate with partners such as Vish and Green Circle to help salons really reach their sustainability goals and also maximize their profits anymore. What I love about this group is we have a plethora of industry experience, and we also all have a really, really strong desire to minimize our carbon footprint. Now, Tim, I know you mentioned you previously owned a salon for 20 years. You're the brains behind Vish,
Yep.
and I know that you are reducing consumption by 30% and generating approximately 5 to 10 grand in revenue per stylist each year. That's amazing.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
on the forefront of leading sustainability efforts, not only at your salon, but through your work at Green Circle. I know your salon received the Flossmore Zero Hero Award because you were the first salon to establish zero waste in your business.
Yes.
Also want to mention that
Wow.
you've been Salon Today 200. You've been nominated 13 times. So that's huge. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And then Tracey, I know you're not just a salon owner, you're an industry influencer, you're an educator. Your salon's been Salon Today 200 for 5 years consecutively. And I know that you host a weekly podcast called The Aspiring Stylist, where you truly inspire stylists. If you haven't listened to it, The Aspiring Stylist, I recommend it. I enjoyed listening to it. So now that we have a little bit more background on the panelists, it's time to jump into this conversation. So I know, Larry, you mentioned a little bit about where your sustainability journey started in the basement of the salon. Tracey, how about you? Where did your sustainability journey start? Like, what challenges were you facing? Was it affecting your operations? Did it improve it?
Well, obviously with the partnerships, we tried, dabbling a little bit in local recycling. We partnered with a company here in town, and they took care of, the cardboard and some plastics. But then we soon found out that our local city recycling only took type 1 and type 2 plastics. So we were still having quite a bit of waste in the salon and didn't really feel like it was making the impact that we wanted to make. So we started digging deeper, attending conferences like Serious Business. We love Serious Business. And, it can feel a little bit overwhelming in a conference format, collecting information, meeting a lot of different people. So when we came back, we decided to, broaden our scope and find a better solution. And that's when we came across Green Circle. So let me see. I'm sorry, I'm having a pause here. When it comes to waste, you have to think about color waste as well. And we know that Vish is a great solution for that. We had charges in place for our additional color use, but being a commissioned salon, pardon me, being a commissioned salon, you have to, you have to split that with your technician. And it was really impossible to measure whether or not we were even breaking even on those services. So we decided to lean more into technology. Discouraged by our local protocol, we started digging, of course, found Green Circle and just immersed ourselves in that. I mean, it was incredible how on board everyone was, our team, our clients. It was just overwhelming.
That's great. That's great. Larry, anything that you want to add there?
I agree with Tracey. I think the combination of Vish and Green Circle have changed our business. 2023, we diverted 1,300 pounds of waste from landfill. At that point, that was also the 10th anniversary of Green Circle, which you saw on Tracey's slide. We've diverted over 10 million pounds of waste from landfill. I think the important part of it is that as owners, we need to start looking for alternate methods of increasing revenue and decreasing waste. And with Green Circle and Vish, it's, like I said before, it's a perfect combination. We've been able to use a Green Circle fee in our process of monetizing or creating revenue for Green Circle. And we use that money. We replaced all of the lights in the salon with LED lights. We're in the process of looking at a water reclamation system so that as water goes through our shampoo bowls, we can recycle it and reuse it.
That's great.
I
You know,
love
when we
that.
decided to partner with Green Circle, we were astounded by the statistics. You know, you don't know what you don't know, right? And so finding out exactly how much waste we were responsible of course, you know, what can I do to make a difference? And with everyone being on board, we were also able to implement eco fees, you know, and of course for us, for our existing clientele, we mentioned it, right? It was a conversation just because they were used to our price structure. But for our new clients, we don't even, you know, it's not even a conversation. It's so deeply ingrained in who we are now. And we've had such a positive response. We don't even feel the need to mention it anymore. Plus, we have signage posted everywhere, all over the salon. It's been on our social media. One thing I love about a Green Circle is all the support you get in the very beginning. You know, you get all these social media assets, you get webinars with the owners and salon coordinators, and even the team. Same thing with Vish, like they're so great with onboarding your stylist and getting them used to the software. As artists, we're not always great about acclimating to technology. And I'm sure I'm not alone. When other hairstylists hear this, they're going to say the same thing. But when you have great support, it makes a really big difference.
Yeah, and I mean, for us, is making it simple. I remember, I mean, I'm old enough to remember the back of the times when there was Napster, when music was free. And then iTunes came along. And Steve, are you laughing at me?
No, I remember
And-
Napster.
yeah, right. So it's free music for everybody. But Steve Jobs from Apple then came out and started charging people for music. And everybody, or I mean, we know where Apple Music went, is that you need to make something convenient and easy. And if you do that, people are willing to pay. So, you know, before when we would hold staff meetings and we'd put our waste in a bucket before Green Circle and we share it in a staff meeting and everybody oohs and ahs at the waste, but there's no solution. So making it easy and convenient to do it with Green Circle. But then, you know, the other impact is, well, let's just reduce that waste, right? Let's just not produce as much. So we're able to cut consumption by 30%, which has such a trickle down effect in that the salons aren't sending as much back to Green Circle. So there's a shipping cost and the fuel that's being burned to ship that color and then the effort to recycle it. But then back to the manufacturer, right? There's less color being produced. There's less boxes, less transportation. So it has a massive impact. And I think it really speaks to the generation who, you know, not my generation, obviously, but the people coming to salons now, whether it's staff or clients, are really looking for this in salons. They want to know what your sustainability effort is, and they want to know that you're using, you know, technology to be a forward-thinking salon. So I think the partnership is fantastic. And unfortunately, when I had my salon, we didn't have Vish because we were in the creation of it, and we didn't have Green Circle. So it's a very exciting time to have all these partnerships and this technology.
It's funny that you mentioned that about consumers being very savvy about sustainability. Looking at some stats, nearly 80% of consumers feel that sustainability is important. And many of them, 84% of them, say that poor environmental practices, oh my gosh, I did that. Okay. They will stop doing or practicing and doing business with that brand if they're not doing good environmental practices. Sustainability is so important, right? It's so important to pass that message on to your customers and make sure that they know about it too.
Yeah, our industry puts over 875 pounds of waste into landfill per month. I'm sorry, per day. It's amazing. And I messed that up too. It was per minute. It's per minute, 877 pounds per minute. It's just phenomenal that there's a way to divert it from landfill. And to Tim's point, I think Vish is such a great way to you use the product better and you use it more efficiently and you waste less. We're a Green Circle and Vish Salon, and I love having those two as partners.
Absolutely.
You
So
guys, oh, go ahead, Tracey.
So my coach is actually responsible for my partnership with Vish. She recommended it to me. And of course, the main objective in the beginning was profitability, right? But we quickly became aware and fell in love with all the other technology that comes with it. You know, being able to store the exact grammage that you're using on your clients, being able to store their formulas so that that guest can come in and see any stylist at any time and know that her formulation is safe. Being little things like being able to put notes in there about your guest. I mean, it's a really well-rounded tool, and you know, and it has worked for profitability, but it does also align with our mission to be more sustainable. And that's incredible. I'm gonna turn my light back on. There we go. Sorry,
Yeah,
it's censored and
Oh, and I think the tides have turned on that, where before sustainability was a cost to a business, where now it's a savings to a business. So you can have that mutually, that mutually aligned goal of being sustainable and being more profitable. And even tools like EcoHeads, right? Cutting down the consumption on the water that you use and making sure that that I can't remember what the stat was. I heard it when we were at the last event, but I think it's something like, oh no, I think it's like 2 gallons a minute is what happens at the shampoo tank, right? So if we can cut that down as well, and just make our salons that right environment, all the tools and are finally out there, and it's just a matter of accessing them and implementing them, which isn't always easy. And I think I'm not tooting our horn or Green Circle's horn, but I think that's one thing that we need to be, just as we are companies that support salons and salons provide amazing customer service, that we are also responsible and have to do the same and be a technology of the company, especially in the industry that we're in, is that it's high touch, right? We have a lot of touch points as SalonBiz does, and great customer support as salons transition and need to become more sustainable and more profitable.
well, and I love
think-
the integration with SalonBiz and especially Vish, how checkout can run smoothly because they're integrated so well. We can pass on those additional color charges down to the exact gram instead of charging a $28 additional color fee. Now, we know if a client comes in with really long, thick hair and we're charging $28 a pop for additional color, that can be up to $100 of just additional color because we have no idea what we actually should charge that guest. So now we're able to detail that and make sure that we pass on the exact cost. And little things too, like just our stylists being able to get their hair done at cost instead of paying a percentage of services. It feels better as a business owner to charge appropriately. And so I'm very thankful.
And I think for years, this industry, we were so averse to raising our prices. And with companies like Green Circle and with Vish, when your product company raises prices, it's a click of a button and that price goes up for the cert because you're charging per gram. Because otherwise you're charging every time somebody has a price increase. You don't want to raise your prices every 6 months, but it happens. You're able to do that with both of these services.
And it creates a ton of consistency from the consumer too. Like that's the part of expertise I can bring in. There's nothing worse than going in for the same service and you're like, why is it different than it was last time? But nothing's different, right? So for me, knowing that there's that consistency in my feed every single time that I go in it builds a lot of trust and a lot more credibility with that brand, right?
Yeah. I know a year ago when we decided to open Aspire Barber and Beauty Academy, all of these initiatives made even more sense over there, right? With an upwards of 40 students with max enrollment, we're looking at a lot of waste, not just physical waste, but also color waste. Students have no idea how to manage their use yet, right? This is a skill that we have to teach them, and Vish allows us to do that. And with school prices being so low, you know, you're charging school prices here while using a luxury line like Aveda. We want to make sure that our incredibly low prices are at least covering our expenses. So we're able to defer that additional color cost onto our guest as well.
And I also think like even students leaving your school going into the business are already prepared and aware about how much color they're more hireable. They're much better staff to have long term. And I think that once they learn and have that experience of Green Circle and Vish and SalonBiz they're going to go to salons that are more aligned. So I think we actually help them align with goals that they may not have had.
Yeah, I feel very proud of the exposure that I'm able to give them, and that maybe even a little bit they're more aware, you know, as young people, considering that most of my students are between the ages of 18 and 24, you know. You either find some that are very, very passionate about sustainability or completely unaware. And I'm just I'm just glad that we're able to introduce them to this early on, and hopefully it sticks, you know.
Yeah, it's the next generation, right?
Mhm.
That's the amazing thing. And I think
We
there's
got to
something,
get to them especially.
yeah, and there's
Yeah.
something to be for recruitment purposes too. You know, if you're molding these students and they're becoming super sustainable and they're aware of it, they're going to go work for a salon that is sustainable as well too and aligns with those same goals. That's amazing. We've been shifting around to data a little bit, and you were talking about how Vish and Green Circle is driving some profitability for your location. So I'd like to dig a little bit more into that with Tracey and you also, Larry. So can you talk to that some?
Sure. So we implemented eco fees. Obviously, our first partnership was with Green Circle. So we implemented an eco fee of $2 for our color services and $1 for our haircut and our nail services. Again, the support was overwhelming from our guests, and again, being able to pass on those additional color charges in their exact amounts. We were able to take our waste down 75% per service, which we're really proud of. And our overall waste in the salon is now right around 10%. And of course, we don't know what it was before, but with these efforts, of course, I feel like we're on track, you know. Our average cost per service is $5.86, which is really, really low. And then, of course, with these additional product charges, we were able to recruit almost $41,000 in the last 2 years in additional color charges. That is literally money that we would not have even realized was going down the drain before, that now we're able to add to our bottom line.
That's awesome.
Wonderful.
That's just
When
great.
you talk about 10% waste, can you tell me a little bit more about what that means? Like
Of
how
course.
percentage?
Yeah, so of course, with Green Circle, we're able to recycle almost everything from the hair color, metals, plastics, styrofoam, so many different ways. And so our partnership with Green Circle, we're able to look at that dashboard and see exactly what our diverted waste is. And so it's accumulation of all of the products that we're able to ship off to have recycled, repurposed.
Nice. Okay. Awesome. Thanks.
And that waste number, just to give some background data, most salons or the average salon is wasting about 40% of its inventory, and schools are wasting even more of that. So 2 out of 5 color tubes being thrown down the drain. And then so that's that part. And we know at Vish that we can get that number down to about 5%. But then there's the other part, which is the awareness from the data, is that you just have people who are over applying color, which is also waste. So it gives you the opportunity to see that data, to have one-on-one conversations, bring in education, do other things that really helps that hairdresser understand how much they're using and be accountable for it. And because of the data, you could correct that behavior. And that 10% waste for Tracey, it's also relative to what she is now. So not only have we reduced her waste, but we've reduced the average cost per application. So even though the waste number is at 10%, it's at 10% of a very low number. So, you know, we see salons, I mean, it's not uncommon to see salons wasting $3,000 and $4,000 a month in a larger location in hair color just down the drain, going from $15 per application down to $5. So, and because where Tracey has those product charges, the hairdresser has to have that conversation. So they're going to be more conservative and they're going to be more mindful when they go to over apply color, that they have to
Mhm.
ask the guest for that money. So it just, it benefits the guest, and also that consistency from visit to visit, just making sure that the guest is paying from what's dispensed and not these arbitrary flat fees that sometimes get charged. But, I think it's 20% of color services go missed in a salon. So I forgot to update, forgot to enter it into SalonBiz.
Add the
So
toner.
just having that. Yeah, exactly. And it's not malicious. I was a busy hairdresser. I would add on services all the time. I simply would just run out of time.
We
Uh,
started the parts and labor concept in October, and our cost of product at the end of the 3 months was about $1,300. Through charging the right costs and monetizing that service so it wasn't split with commission, we had a revenue of $2,829. Almost $2,800 or $2,830.
And parts
Just a
and
great
labor
win.
aligns with Vish, right? You're talking about
Yes,
parts.
that was with Vish. And on the Green Circle side, by creating, at one point we had 3 tiers, now we're down to 2 tiers of Green Circle fees. And the total revenue we had was $19,000 in 2023. It was, now subtract the cost from that, and we were at $11,000 revenue stream that didn't exist before. That goes right to the bottom line. It improves your operations. The thing I like about Vish also is you're no longer sitting there going 1, 2, 3, 4 tubes of this, 3 tubes of that. You buy what you use, and then you look at the next 2 or 3 weeks and you say, okay, in the next order cycle, it's springtime. I've got to go into the high lift blondes so that I've got it in stock. It's been incredible time saver and money saver with inventory.
It's incredible to not have to guess whether or not you're making a profit on color services. Color services are by far the most expensive service to perform in the salon. And like he was saying, it's 2 out of every 5 color tubes wasted. As a salon owner, that hurts your feelings a little bit, So yeah, being able to recoup that and being able to attract the kind of client that you want, an ideal client that cares about the things that you care about, Our eco fees, switching over to eco fees, on some months, we're able to make up to a 30% profit on our eco fees, which again, helps with things like LED lighting in the salons. We switched out anywhere that we had paper towels in the salon. We now have reusable towels for the bathroom and things like that. It's little stuff like that. Updating our receptacles, and also being able to make sure that we pay our support staff for their additional time and effort, for making sure everything's separated properly and shipped off. And, this isn't something that they're not compensated for. So yeah, it's great.
Tell us a little now, when you talk about eco fees, I think this is good. Thank you so much for highlighting where the data kind of meets, that's where the rubber hits the road, right? We have all this, we're doing these sustainability efforts, but like, where's the revenue kick into place? And I think that was great. Great that you guys shared that. You're talking about eco fees. So, and I believe, Tracey, that you mentioned earlier that when you rolled it out, you really just had to have a few conversations with your existing, but the new customers don't even know that you do it. So Larry, how did you roll out the eco fee at your salon? Like, how did you let customers know that you're doing this and you're doing it for this effort, and what feedback did you get from that?
Well, the event that really triggered us going with Green Circle was I took the entire Green Circle concept and I went to our local refuse and I said, I want to do this locally. And he looked at it and he goes, I can't touch it. He says, I'm a cartage guy. I pick it up, I take it away. I don't know where it goes. I don't care. And the next day we signed up with Green Circle. That was in January of 21. And we planned, as of the middle of February, we started announcing that the beginning of Earth Month, April 1st, we were going to be initiating fees. So we went through the training with Green Circle. Our educator, Sarah Babington, was incredible to be able to bring everybody into the fold and get them to understand the concept. And being an Aveda salon, it was already part of our DNA. It's part of our culture. But that made it so much easier to be able to prepare everybody. And literally it is it was easy, but I think that's with everything. If it's a surprise, people don't like to be surprised when it comes to money. And if they knew that it was going to come, they were okay with it. And I literally had one complaint in 3 years. It wasn't really even a complaint, it was a question. She thought it was a donation and she wanted to choose where the money went to. And I said, no, it's actually a fee. So it's going to go towards Green Circle.
That's
And
amazing.
I think just last point on that is that I think as salon owners and as hairdressers ourselves, we're often thinking that we're going to get a lot more pushback than we do.
Mhm.
When we're doing these extra product charges, it's a much easier conversation to have with the customer when you can explain where the money's going, or you can explain why there's a $7 fee on top of it because they came in 12 weeks instead of 6 weeks. I think the biggest part of what we really try to do, and I know Green Circle does as well, is prepare the hairdresser to have those conversations, because we understand it, we can converse, and we know how to tell it, but it's given them the right information so they can convey it to the guests, which makes it a lot more digestible. And those extra fees are much easier for the customer when they're explained properly, obviously.
Yeah.
I think something too that we fail to remember too, or our stylists too, they don't necessarily aren't armed with this information, but more than half of the consumers out there are willing to pay more for eco-friendly brands. So when you do exactly like you said, Tim, you position it as a sustainability effort, you explain the purpose behind it, there's going to be a willingness to pay that money for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, great. We're starting to kind of come to time, but I do have another question that I think will be really helpful for the audience. What are some recommendations that each of you have for salon owners that are looking to be more sustainable and looking to be more profitable at the same time? I think that y'all have done a great job of kind of explaining that sustainable doesn't have to equal dollar signs. In fact, sometimes the sustainability really helps cut down the cost. So for people that are first kind of looking at their sustainability journey, what recommendations do you have for them?
I would say, because I have an eco fee and we've created a revenue stream, that was our choice. That revenue or that eco fee could be enough to cover the cost of the service. And basically you're not asking the customer to pay for it, but they are paying something towards offsetting the cost of it. I think especially with COVID coming out of the pandemic, it really gave us permission to take control of our businesses and to be able to, we're going to have systematic price increases. We're going to have a method to the madness, and we're going to start grabbing the reins and saying, this is what we need to do to be sustainable as a business. And that means entering into technology like Vish and services like Green Circle, and being able to take it to control your business and raise prices when the time is right.
For us is always innovating our technology and looking at the data constantly to see ways that we can improve what we're doing. The initiative right now that we're working on is an inventory management system that hasn't been done before, where we're tracking everything in real time, but with that data, where we're going to be able to cut down on the speed of reordering. We're going to be able to cut down on, and give you accurate data on how many tubes of color you're holding. Because often, we have archaic, inventory systems, so that we're doing manual counting, and just by using software like SalonBiz and like Vish, and to really look at the business as an overall, look at every part of it, understand every part of it, and have data that helps you make these decisions on which direction to take. There's, even as much as looking at the washer and dryer that you're using and how efficient that is, and is there a better way to do it? you may have to replace it, or you may want to use disposable towels if it fits in for your business model. But it's looking at all the options and then having the data behind you to take advantage of those options where they make sense to you. So, I mean, I think we're just, and again, these partnerships, right? Like the fact that we work with SalonBiz and Green Circle, and we have all the partnerships out there so that together collectively, we can work on these problems together as not just one company doing it alone, but make it more convenient for the end user to be environmentally sustainable.
Love it.
I think that we can all do better, right? And we can be better for it. And I hope that we can continue to bring awareness. And I've always said, emotions or numbers tell you what emotions can't. And so it feels really good to own sustainable beauty practice establishments. It does. But even if you remove the emotion from it, by partnering with companies like SalonBiz and Vish and Green Circle, you can make a difference while making a profit. Even if you remove the desire to be more sustainable, these are still profitable initiatives. So, I mean, my recommendation is
That's
to
very
look
well
into
said.
it. Book a call.
I love
It's
it.
not going to hurt to book a call and find out what these companies can do for your business.
Well, that's great. I think that you guys have really shared a lot of knowledge. I think that we did a really big deep dive into some great ways that all of you contribute to the greater good, right? To the sustainability efforts, and not even just to sustainability, but providing solutions to people to be more sustainable. Like Tracey, even yourself, with your students, right? Like putting them on the right path to sustainability. You play a big role in this too. So as we wrap up, happy Earth Month to everyone. I want to keep in mind that Earth Day is April 22nd, right? And I hope that everyone that's watching is going to be celebrating in some way and driving awareness around their sustainability efforts, because the more awareness that we bring to it, just the better that everyone is going to get at it, right? So regardless of how small it seems, it's going to make a big impact with its ripple effect. So I hope that you guys are celebrating in a really awesome way. There is a QR code here if you would like to scan it. There are some exclusive offers from all of the partners here on the call. But I think from all of us here on this call, happy Earth Month. Let's make the planet a better place to live, right?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Happy Earth Month.